Okay, there we go. We're live on YouTube. I haven't done one of these live shows in quite a while. So, welcome in, everybody. This is our end of the year accounting and inventory. We're joined, most of you will recognize the folks here on my left, your right, one of my sides, Paul and Faith. They're the owners of My Reseller Genie, and I promote this out wherever you join me from. The end of the year, we're just 3.5 days away. And if you slacked on your numbers for 2022, this live show is for you to stick around the entire show because we're going to get you ready for 2023, and we're going to do some giveaways at the end of this video. So stick around, and in the meantime, welcome in Paul and Faith. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
To be here.
We're super excited.
So they are, anybody who doesn't know, Paul is going to, or Faith, either of you, are going to tell us a little bit about you guys and what you do and what My Reseller Genie is. But before we do that, I apologize for my lighting and my yellow wall here. I'm at my future in-laws, spending some holiday time with them. So I'm doing the live show on the road, and Paul and Faith are on the road too.
We're on the road. So we apologize for the darkness back here. We got a webcam and everything, and it's just not working out very well.
So that's the reality of live shows and the holiday season when everybody is traveling and visiting and hanging out and doing all that sort of stuff. So hopefully this goes over well and we don't have any technical issues, but so far so good. So go ahead, guys. Let's talk about who you are, since I already know. Let's let the folks know and what you do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Should I go?
Yeah, how about you do that?
Yeah. So my name is Faith. This is my husband, Paul. We've been married for 5.5, almost 6 years now, which is exciting. I know, right? Time flies. Time flies. I got into very long story short, I got into reselling about 5 years ago. And fell in love with it right away. I feel like a lot of us can really identify with that. You know, you flip something from your closet and you're like, oh my gosh, I just made money. And then you just get a thrifting addiction. And that's what happened to me. So I quickly fell in love with that. And then the first tax season rolled around for me. And my husband here is an accountant, thank God, because it was a complete disaster for me, my first tax season, because I was not tracking anything. Excuse me, I was not tracking anything. And so I was only on one platform at the time, so mine was a little bit easier, to just gather my records and stuff. But overall, it was just a very, very stressful season. And so Paul came home one day from his accounting job, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, I need to help this woman because she is a disaster." And that is basically how My Reseller Genie started. We started as a spreadsheet. And then about a year ago, we actually launched the web app of My Reseller Genie. And we've been helping hundreds and hundreds of people since. We're super excited. We're growing really quickly. Did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good summary. It's been a good year for us getting the web app out there and, getting to connect with resellers and kind of learn more about how different people do reselling and help to continue, optimizing the software for different users. Yeah. And we're excited with where we are now, and we're excited to continue growing in 2023.
Yeah.
Yep. And so this is your first full year, because in 2021, we were just talking and basically prepping and getting ready for soft launches and then the hard launch and the full thing gung ho. This was really built from scratch, built from the ground up just by the two of them. And of course, they've had some help with programmers and different back-end people. But they approached me, and it's something that, look, in the reality, a lot of people don't like to put it in my Facebook group because they're worried that I secretly work for the IRS or the FBI or something. But people don't track numbers. They're either not good at it, they're intimidated by it, they're scared by it, they don't know where to start, they don't have a program, they don't have a process. There's so many reasons that people in this community just don't, tackle this task. And unfortunately, it's a super important task. And if we've learned anything over the last 6 to 12 months, the government, the IRS, the USA is definitely trying to crack down on it. Now, there was a big announcement 2-3 days ago, I think, or the day before Christmas, whatever it was, 2 days before Christmas, that they did back down a little bit on the 1099 reporting threshold. But that's not going to last forever. They are going to reduce the threshold. They are going to force more people to get 1099s, and it's going to make it a lot more, needed that you need to get these numbers in and get them in correctly, because if there's a 1099 paper trail, there's more likelihood that you could get audited, and two, that in the event that you do get audited, now there's a paper trail that this company has produced that if you haven't done your due diligence and your numbers, you're going to be in trouble. So that's why it's so important to have a program. And also this year, I won't say the names. We don't speak of that name, but another company closed down, which a lot of folks used and depended on. And so there was one less option. A lot of people panicked and a lot of people didn't know where to go. And still to this day, they lost it and they don't know where to go or what to do. So Kate's in the chat. Hi, Kate. She's in the other room in the chat. But that's why My Reseller Genie expanding and growing like you guys did this past year and getting all the new features that you popped out, which we're going to show everyone a demo and some of the features here in a minute, was so important because if you slacked on it in 2022, I promise you this year coming up, 23, is not the year to do it again. Let's get you on track. Let's get the numbers in place and show you that it's not intimidating. It's actually a lot easier than a lot of people think. They just get it in their head. I think Paul probably can. I feel like you could explain. Like people just get this like mental block, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, it's.
I mean, especially for if you're like a first-time business owner, like reselling is your first business. It's new and like new things are scary. But in reality, like building up this base knowledge it's not that hard. It's not that complicated. I think with My Reseller Genie, we try and remove the complications as much as possible. And once you have that base level of knowledge, that's going to serve you for the rest of your life as a business owner. And, you can just build on it from there and continue to grow and mature as a business owner.
For sure.
Things do change year to year, but they don't change that drastically. Generally, once you get the hang of it and you get in a pattern and procedure down and you know what you're tracking and what you're doing, you can adjust. It's very, very easy. I have to learn new things, but they're so small from year to year to year. I look back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even when I started doing, business and tracking numbers, not a lot's changed. The laws, the numbers, they change a little, but once you have it down in a program like Genie, you'll be able to roll and you'll be able to do it year after year after year on your own. You won't need to have to be like, oh my God, what am I going to do this year? And I think the starting point, just putting your foot in the door is where a lot of people, they just got to get over that hump. They just got to get going.
So true.
Couple questions. Oh, I should have mentioned this first. Sorry. We are going to do Q&A at the end. We're going to let Paul do a demo for everyone that's here. We have 50 some people here right now. So we're going to let Paul do a demo to show everyone what Genie is and how it works. We'll probably spend like 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll do some questions and answers. We'll go back over any pieces if there's a couple of similar requests to go over a couple pieces of the demo. And we'll do some giveaways for anyone who sticks around to the end, including free Genie subscriptions for a month. So do stay for that. And I want Paul to do the demo. I'll answer a couple quick questions here, but we'll save the rest for Q&A. Paul, you have your screen share up, right?
Yeah, if you can just go ahead and add me. There we go. All right.
So Paul's going to do this demo. Let me just grab two questions I saw really quick. With eBay doing 2 years now to look back at orders, will your software be able to pull data back that far? Basically, how far back can you go?
Yeah, so I'll show you in a second our initial imports feature, but basically we pull from the eBay managed payments data. So, a lot of the times people are like, oh, we can only pull back 90 days. That's not the case in My Reseller Genie. There's one limitation to that, which is like you can't get the item titles of the sales that have pulled, pulled from that far back.
Yeah, they do go away after a while. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do actually have an alternate method to pull sales, which involves a little more manual work, but it'll get you the item titles as well. So we've got a video on that if it's really important to you.
Very nice. Okay, so we're gonna go into that and that goes with secondhand merchandise's question of automatically keeping track of sales. You're gonna see that in the demo right now. So let's jump into this. And guys, pay attention and consider this as one of your options for this year for 23, especially if you didn't track your numbers in 22 or if you tried to do it on a little notepad and paper. Please consider this. So, Paul, take it away.
Okay.
Awesome.
I am just going to interject something really, really quick, Casey, because if anybody here watching this is anything like me, this type of thing can be really overwhelming. It can be kind of like, what am I looking at? This is a new software. We're talking about numbers and accounting and platforms and blah, 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 blah. So I just really briefly want to just give you a summary about what you're about to see in My Reseller Genie, because I think that might help you just process everything that you're about to see. So just really quick, we are compatible with any and all selling platforms. That does not mean that we're integrated with them. So there's a difference between compatibility and integration. We are integrated with eBay, which means that you can automatically pull in all of your sales, your inventory, your expenses from that platform daily, which is really, really nice. It's automated. However, for any and all other selling platforms, you can still record all of your inventory and sales from those platforms, but there's going to be a little bit more of manual work with that. But we made My Reseller Genie so that you can track all of your revenue streams, because we know that good accounting is only good if you're tracking everything. Because I know for me, like even when I was just on one platform, I had sold some sneakers to, I think, a family member or something. And like that is still, money that needs to be reported. So we made My Reseller Genie so that you can, track everything in one place. And then we're also going to show you our sales analytics, which are fantastic. We're going to show you how you can integrate with your bank to be able to pull in your expenses daily. And then the last big category is that we also have reseller reports. So come tax time, all you have to do is print out your report, hand it to your accountant, your CPA, whatever, or if you file on your own, you will have all the information that you need. So that's just like a really, really condensed summary about what you're about to see, because I don't want anybody to get overwhelmed, when we're starting to show you some of these things.
Yeah, and that's great, because those are a lot of the common questions we get about which platforms are compatible and that sort of thing. So great intro. And Paul's got, you're seeing here is Paul's screen. I'm going to put us down there. Actually, probably on the side's better. And this is his screen for Genie. This is actually inside of the software. And take it away, Paul. It's all you.
Awesome. Yeah. So when you first sign in, before you get to this screen, it's going to ask for payment information. But once you've paid, you'll get this little quick walkthrough menu that just highlights two things. So one is a new user checklist, just to kind of have a sense for when you're getting started out, what are the things I need to be thinking about? And then the other is this help icon up here. If you click on it, it helps to kind of sort questions you might have based on topics. So there's importing data, and then, sales, Poshmark and Mercari, eBay. Basically, it filters down and links you to videos that explain how to do the thing that you're trying to do. So that's really just helpful. Something to be aware of. We try to make help as easily accessible as possible. If you're not finding, answers to what you need, you can always send us an email straight through the app. So that's that. Now, how do you get data in? So we'll start off with some eBay data. So I'm going to click Initial Imports and then eBay, and I'll do the direct import feature. Now, I've already connected to my eBay account, but if, obviously if you haven't connected, you need to do that. So it'll just take you to a screen that pops out to an eBay window. You click Approve, and then boom, you're connected. It's really easy. So I'm going to grab, I guess I'll grab inventory first. So I'll just click Import Inventory. It's going to go and pull my data. And then that data is starting to come in. And while we're waiting on it, I'm going to grab my sales as well. And I'm pulling from an account that doesn't have a ton of data in it, so it should go by a little quicker.
Yep. There you go.
The magic is about to begin.
Yep. Processing. So this is, and I don't know if Paul said this at first, I didn't hear, but this is your initial import. So this is sort of like kind of your beginning stages, and it gets easier after this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely, guys, give yourself some grace for the setup process. We make it as easy as possible, but because, you're trying to backtrack and, pull all this information, it's going to take a little bit of time. But then moving forward, once you're all caught up, it's really just a breeze.
Yep.
We're still getting some of that data in.
Yep. The initial setup for anything is always the longer one, and then it gets much easier.
Okay.
And like Casey said, we are traveling, so our internet might be a little bit slow here.
All right. Yeah, so I can do that next. All right, so I'm going to put in Poshmark next. So something that's a nice feature with Poshmark and Mercari is that you can directly upload their reports. So I just click Poshmark, select my file, and then grab my Poshmark sales report here.
I won't lie. I'm thankful that my future in-laws have good internet here. So
For sure. Oh, look, there we go. Charts are updating.
Yeah.
and you can watch. You can actually see it in real time as it pops stuff in. You can see that gross profit going up and all that. So that's pretty cool. You can see the chart adjust. Yeah, the chart adjusting the percentages.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. No, actually, I messed something up when I was clearing. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Sweet.
You get graphs of profitability. You get total sales summary at the bottom. So that's the initial import, just what Paul just did, and you immediately see all the numbers like right there. And you can sort it. Yeah, you can sort right there what he's just doing. You can upload Posh. You can upload eBay. You can upload Mercari there above it.
Yeah, I'm going to stick in some Posh inventory too, so that I have
two platforms to look at. Yeah.
Inventory information.
Yep, and you can look. It is fun to sit there and watch the graphs go.
It is fun.
It is. I love it.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So let's start kind of getting into what we're looking at here. So the management dashboard, this is something everyone has access to. It's just really a big picture overview of your business. So up top here, this shows you the last 13 months, your total sales, total cost of goods, and then gross and net profit.
And this seller just fell off the radar for the end of 2022. It looks like
Yeah.
their sales
so
went down
like
a lot.
it can be really helpful just to get a real quick snapshot of your sales. Like if you're, feeling like, hey, I wonder what this time last year was like. You can see 13 months back. And so you can see the same month this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see from month to month throughout the year how your trends go. So that's interesting and easily accessible information. These two pie charts here, the one on the left, if you don't track inventory in My Reseller Genie, that's okay, but you won't have anything here. What this is doing is just showing based on department what the dollar value of your inventory is. So this particular seller mostly has women's inventory. And then the total sales summary over here is showing total sales revenue by department. So kind of interesting that, the inventory is 91% women's, but 63% of sales are women's.
Yep. So you can see, which categories do best for you, which types, what percent of your sales. So that's just extra added analytics. So you can see that this was a customer, a My Reseller Genie customer had emailed me a few months back saying, wow, I never realized like 90% of my sales were from men's shirts or whatever. And I hardly even focus on that, but it's my sell-through rate. So now I'm going to focus more on that because I saw inside of Genie what was selling the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then assets to liabilities, I'll go through this pretty quick. This is really helpful if you track inventory in Genie because you can see your inventory balance from month to month. If you're climbing, that means you're stacking more of your cash on the shelf. And I won't spend too much time on that. And then for all these charts up here, you've got the data in tabular format down below. So if you are more of a numbers person than a graphs person, you can just scroll down and see it there.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, let's look at our sales analytics.
Oh, just really quick. We aren't going to show you this, but there is also an income tax wait, I'm not saying that right, income tax estimator or calculator. So you can actually enter in your income tax rate. You know, if your accountant thinks that you should be setting aside 25%, you know, of your revenue for income tax, you can actually put that number into Genie. It's very, very simple. And Genie will spit out the number of, you know, what that estimate is of what you will owe at tax time. And that's super, super helpful, especially if you are not good at planning like me, you know, because you can see that number, you know, and that number, if you hover over that gray bar, will tell you how much you owe. So really, really helpful with planning, guys, so that you aren't surprised, you know, come tax time.
Yeah. So it does show up on that assets to liabilities chart as well. All right. So then for sales analytics, this is only going to be available to people on premium or ultimate. So basic doesn't have access to the analytics. So it's really nice because you can really quickly filter by time just with these buttons up here. And you can see some summary statistics for your gross profit, your average sale price, and your sell-through rate. Also, as you're going through the app, you'll notice there's a lot of these little info icons that tell you what something is, or they, you know, educate you about something. So it's really important to us to try and help inform people, not just about My Reseller Genie, but maybe about you know, a bigger picture topic like sell-through rate.
Yeah.
So check those out if you see something and you're like, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's not just the percentage that spits out a number, which is great because you need the number, but it tells you what or where that number came from, rather.
Yeah.
How it got that number. Yeah.
Yeah. So then when we get into our sales analytics charts down here, the first one is our profit and sales detail. So it contains two different pieces of information. So the green bar is your total gross profit. And then the white line is the number of sales. So, you know, both of those are kind of interesting because it's like, all right, how many sales am I making, but also how much money am I making off of those sales?
Yep.
So there's a couple different ways that you can look at it. So right now it's just broken out by the department, which is for in My Reseller Genie, that's like the highest level grouping. But you can also drill into the category or even the subcategory. And you can also look at brand.
We just added brand, guys. So for everybody who's asking about brand, now you can see brand.
Yep. You
Now,
can see all the nice Levi's you're selling. That was one I got. I sold a bunch. I bought like 600 pairs. I sold a bunch.
I remember that. Yeah.
600.
Christmas time came, and every day I sold like 2 pair of Levi's every day.
Oh my gosh, nice.
Yeah, we sold like 100 pairs.
Man.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So like right now, looking at it, it's not very useful, but I'll come back in a second and show you how you can transform your data to make, you know, these, you know, really low level selectors very helpful for you.
Yep. And they can be, because you will see the brands. If you've got like people that are jean sellers or women's clothes or whatever, or shoe sellers is probably a really good one too. You can see what brands you're selling the most of, and you'll know what to focus on. Like it's so common sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So these two pie charts, the one on the left is your gross profit by the days listed. So the concept here is you kind of want to see how fast am I moving inventory. So it breaks it up into these like 30-day increments. And then depending on how long it's been listed, you know, it might go up more than that. But we can see like, all right, 24.5% is selling in 121 to 250. You know, that's not so great. It's taken a while to sell. And just looking at this information can give you a little bit of insight into like how good of a job am I doing listing. Gross profit by platform. We've got 2 platforms in here right now, so we can see persons making most of their profit on Poshmark, but also a decent chunk on eBay. This might be helpful if like you're using a cross-posting service, just to kind of get a sense for which platforms are working for you. And as you kind of dig into the analytics more, that might give you a sense for like, what should I be posting on what platform?
Yep.
Total sales by days listed. So this is kind of similar to this pie chart up here, but it's laid out a bit differently. So we've got our total number of sales and then our average sale price broken up by these windows. So 0 to 30, 31 to 60, you know, how long it takes the item to sell. And the goal behind this chart is to help you remove the emotion from making that decision of like, do I accept a certain offer? You know, it's always like you get a piece of inventory and you're like, this is worth so much money.
Oh yeah, I get so attached to my inventory. It's like my children, and then you don't want to let it go unless you make a ton of money on it or something.
Yeah, and then like someone makes an offer and it's like maybe it'll cover your cost or maybe you'll lose a little bit of money, but you'll at least get it out the door.
Yep. This is a common this message comes across my emails almost daily. How do I know how long to let something sit, or how long till I just move it out or donate it or drop it drastically, put it on like 50% off or whatever? And God, I get this question almost every single day, either on Facebook or in my emails every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this will help to take all the emotion out of it by looking at
you're going to see how long it's been.
Yeah. And it just tells you like, all right, if I wait 61 to 90 days, my average sale price is $39.26. But if I go past 90 days, it drops all the way down to 33. And then this is down to 25. So it's really helpful. Now, all these greater than 250s, they don't have a listing date. So you can't, don't look at that data.
Well, I mean, it's great. And so Rich and everybody, no attach, no emotion. And look, reselling is numbers, and the attachment and the emotion is hard because there's a few in my inventory where I'm like, no, I'm keeping it. Like, I'll keep it myself. But yeah, if you can see the numbers in front of you, it absolutely makes the decision so much easier. I try to guess. I'm pretty good with knowing when I bought stuff. I can look in my inventory and be like, yeah, probably had that a little too long, get rid of it. But if it was actually in front of me, I'm probably guilty of this like a lot, where I'm like, maybe I haven't had it that long, but actually knowing. Kate's like, what do you mean not long? It's been 9 months. You're right. So it's great to see that number in front of you. And then you'll be like, all right, you know what? I've had it too long. Let's go ahead and sell it. Let's put it at a price that it's going to move at.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then sales detail. So one of the great things about My Reseller Genie Analytics is that you can really drill into your data. So you can filter all of your sales data. We saw these quick filters up top based on time range, but you can actually filter based on any field that we track. So there's a whole bunch of fields there. So if I want to, search for the item title, if it contains black, I can filter for just those sales, and then all these charts update. And you can do this. You can add as many filters as you want. So like, remember brand previously, it was like, there's so many brands, you couldn't really read everything. This is a way that you can condense it and see a lot more information.
Yeah, there's a lot of detailed, like you said, men's, women's, platform, brand. You can look into the sales any which way you want and figure out what's doing good and what's not with all of this. So on top of doing what you need with your total sales and your expenses and your profit, you can also look at things that not only help your taxes, but also help your sales and your sell-through rate and analytics to help you move more.
Yeah. So I won't belabor that point anymore, but I mean, point is with My Reseller Genie Sales Analytics, you can really slice the data up any way you want to. So inventory, there's not really a lot to show on this tab. It's just a table with your inventory. But I will point out that any data in My Reseller Genie, you can export it as easily as that. You just click the export button, download it as a CSV. If like you wanted to save, backups for yourself for some reason, or you wanted to do some additional data manipulation in Excel, it's really, really easy to do. Cash reconciliation. So I won't spend a ton of time on this because a lot of people don't do it. But basically, if you want to reconcile a bank account in My Reseller Genie just to track how much money your business has, you can do it in this section. Expense detail. So expense detail is where you'll track your expenses. This is available for people on Premium and Ultimate, not on Basic. And also available to those people on Premium and Ultimate is the ability to integrate with your bank account or your credit card. So
do you want to show them the integrations, like the eBay integration? Just how easy it is to set that up?
Yeah. So a couple of the questions were about the expenses, either importing the actual eBay fees, like your fees or the cost of the shipping labels that you purchase through eBay, versus manually inputting something like a plane ticket to go to, Boss Reseller.
Yeah.
So those are the two biggest questions here in the expense category. So if you could show those two. In fact, we just got asked.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll actually, to talk about the eBay integration, I'm going to come back to that once we get through the rest of this, because I'll need to log out and log into a different account to really demonstrate it. But basically, if you're on the ultimate plan, know that all of your eBay fees and expenses are going to automatically be brought in once you record sales. So we'll show exactly what that means momentarily. But for anything else that's not coming from eBay, if you have your bank account or your credit card connected, that will get brought in, and then a notification will pop up that prompts you to review it and assign a general ledger account to it. So just really quick, I'll show this screen.
How you do all the bank integration stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
Yeah. So you'll click select expense account, and it'll take you to this page. We integrate with over 11,000 financial institutions. So generally speaking, we'll be able to integrate with your bank. Some really small ones we've had issues with, but for the most part, you'll be able to bring in your transactions. I won't go through that whole process because I don't want to connect my bank account to this account, but you can also pull in past transactions through that process.
Yeah. And if you sign up and get on Genie, there's obviously, you guys have a YouTube channel, which I linked below as well. You can watch some of the demo videos there. They've uploaded quite a few videos, and they always are updating that. And you can also, on the website, is some more information on how to do it too. So.
Yeah, and just I'll put in a quick plug for our customer support. So customer support is really, really important to us. So we always respond to people within 24 hours at the most. So if you email us, if you send us a DM, if you have questions about what you're seeing, how to use Genie, if our videos aren't answering it, if our written instructions aren't answering your questions, please shoot us a message, and we would love to get back to you and help you with that.
Yep. Thank you. I thought this was why we were on that topic. Jessica asked if Posh and Macari also have the same as eBay, being able to pull the platform fees in.
Okay.
So yeah, Posh and Macari are nice because they're actually way more straightforward than eBay with their fees, because every fee is like attached to the sale.
Yeah.
So when you upload those Poshmark and Mercari reports, the fees will all get brought in. Yeah. Great question.
Great question, Jessica.
All right. So yeah, the last thing I'll show on this account before we switch over and talk about the eBay integration is the reseller reports tab.
This might be my favorite tab because this is going to make tax season so easy for you if you have been keeping all your numbers in Genie. I should say that.
Yeah. So here you can run profit and loss statements. We have both a summary and a detail report. So the summary just gives you high level numbers. When you're filing your taxes or digging more into your business, you'll want to run a detail report. But it shows you your income broken out by the platform. It shows you where all of your different expenses are coming from. And remember, we have that estimated tax calculator. So that'll show up here. If you want to toggle it off, you can just click on that button and it'll remove that from the detail as well. And
so before you, he changed it. So if you haven't filed taxes as a seller or as a business owner before with the IRS, essentially what it is think of it as a piece of paper, and it asks you for like 20 lines of numbers. It's line 1 is total sales, right? So you can see it right up there at the top in income, eBay, Poshmark. They don't care for you to break it down by platforms. That's more for you, but the IRS just wants one box. What was your total number of sales? Well, there it is, 3643, right? And then the next box says, what were your cost of goods sold? So then you've got that number. And then the next one says, did you have shipping costs? Bam, you have it right there. And so literally this line of numbers is the majority of the numbers the IRS is going to ask you for. and you could just take these numbers and plug them right into those boxes. Like it's literally that easy.
Yeah. And can I just add too, like, look at what it is for net profit. We went from the income of having over $3,600 in sales, but our profit is only $1,262.33. That was eye-opening for me, when I plugged in my numbers into Genie, because I think as resellers, it's so easy to think because we're making sales all the time, oh, I'm super profitable. But more likely than not, well, I shouldn't say more likely than not. I don't want to discourage you, but if you are not tracking your numbers, you really don't know how profitable you are. And so use Genie to help you figure that out, to help you make better business decisions and grow your business.
Yeah. And two things on that. It's not just key for like making good business decisions. Mm-hmm. It's also important for taxes, because you don't need to claim your expenses on your tax returns. The IRS is not going to come after you for not claiming your expenses. They are happy to tax you on more money than you should be taxed on.
Absolutely.
So if you're just coming in and saying like, all right, this is, the money I made from eBay and Poshmark, and you don't have all of your expenses tracked, you're going to pay too much in taxes, and that really sucks.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
What is the difference on here on this one for the shipping cost and the shipping fee? One is the labels.
Yeah, so that has to do with where the expense is recorded. So for sales, there's a field here called shipping costs. And if it's filled out on the sale, then it'll show up under the shipping costs general ledger account. The shipping fees, it's the exact same thing, but it's in the expense detail. It's just a different general ledger account. So it's the same thing, but under a different name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The cost you spent on buying the shipping labels.
Yeah. So it's like if it's kind of directly in the platform, like Poshmark or Mercari or something, where it's kind of attached to the sale, then we would just say record the shipping there. But if it's like eBay and it's a separate transaction from the sale, I'll explain it more in a second.
Yeah. It's basically just the way that Genie records certain things under certain transactions and the way they're put in. So it is the same thing though. You would just add them together as a total shipping expense if you put them on your tax report. So
yeah.
Okay, so now we're into running reports for inventory.
Yeah, so this last report is just something for the people who use the accrual inventory method. This is really important because it removes the math from your life. Because on your Schedule C, it's going to ask for your inventory beginning balance, your purchases during the year, and your inventory ending balance.
Yep.
And so this looks at your data, it calculates all those numbers for you, and that gives you your cost of goods. Yep. So it's really helpful. And if you need to print a detail of it, these buttons will just download a CSV detail of everything that makes the number up. So it'll make your life a lot easier if you use that method.
Yep.
If you're cash inventory, don't worry about what I just said.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to log out of this account real quick and log into a different one, and we'll talk about the eBay integration.
And while he does that, I know, Casey, that you already addressed this in the chat, but somebody else was asking, are you guys going to be, adding other platforms like Etsy, Shopify, and stuff? So I said this at the beginning, but let me just, clarify this again, because it's so important. We are compatible with all selling platforms. It's very, very easy to add another selling platform into My Reseller Genie. And basically you would just, whatever item you sell, you would just, put the selling platform in the little field that we have. So you can account for sales from whatever platform, even if you have something unique to you. So let's say, a lot of people we've talked to actually sell at antique booths, right? Or, maybe you sold something to your neighbor across the street. You can enter all those into Genie as selling platforms and account for all of that in My Reseller Genie.
Yep.
All right, so for the eBay integration, this is available to people on the Ultimate plan only. In order to set it up, all you need to do is click the profile icon, then click integrations and check this checkbox, and then it'll start working. Now, the way it works is every day we pull in the new listings, sales, and fees from the past 24 hours. We then hold that information for you to approve. And then once you approve it, it gets added into Genie. So that's kind of big picture how it works. So what you'll do is you'll see these two notifications show up, and you'll have one for listings and then one for transactions. So listings, if you don't track inventory, you can just leave this notification on red. If you do track inventory, then I haven't updated this account for a while, so we'll see how many I have outstanding. Okay, so that's a lot. So as the inventory gets brought in, it'll show you the title, the SKU, your list date, and then you can add the purchase price and the purchase date here. You could also add brand and location as well if you wanted to. And you would just go through, add all that information, record it, and it would be added to your inventory. For the sales, you'll click on the eBay transactions ready to import. And what it'll do is it'll look for matches in your inventory for the sale items that came through. So I'm just going to select all of them and approve the match. But really you should go through and make sure that it matched up properly. And these that don't match, I'm just going to really quick add inventory details to.
And the reason why we do this is that we want you guys to be hands-on on your data. I know that with some other accounting softwares like that track inventory and sales and stuff, they make it, they make it, just kind of like one click of a button, right? And everything is in your Genie or in your, whatever. But we do this because there really can be, what would you say, like discrepancies in data, or like pieces of information that you need to edit or add. So we really want to make sure that that you're hands-on with your data.
Yeah. So it says my upload's ready, so I'm going to click submit, and then these sales are going to start to be recorded. What happens once the sales are recorded is once they all go in, then the fees from that period of time are going to be added to the expense detail. So the reason we have it set up this way is because My Reseller Genie will actually attach the fees to the sale for analytics purposes. So like if a shipping label comes in and it's goes to one of your orders, we'll find that order and attach the cost there so that you can see your numbers in a really granular way. So I'll just
yeah. So that Aaron, that's a good question. I'll address that at the end. Sorry, I was reading that. So if he does like ending items and then relisting them after 30 days or sell similar after 30 days, how does it affect the inventory that's in already? Like if he imports it today and then a week from now he takes it down and relists it.
Yeah. So that's an area where you need to have strong systems in place, because anytime a new listing gets created in eBay, it gets pulled in, as a new listing to My Reseller Genie. So what I would do is I would say, all right, if I'm going to be ending listings and doing sell similar, don't add any new, like any real new inventory that day, because then you'll have to kind of comb through. Whereas if you're just saying, all right, on this day, I know that every new listing is already recorded, then you can just delete all of them instead of bringing them in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, like if you plan to do this on Monday, you wouldn't want to, God, it's so hard to explain. Like I feel like I could show somebody more than I could tell them.
We have videos for this.
There is a video on this?
So yeah, so what would be that? Do you want to try again to explain that?
No, I mean, like the principle is just know when you're going to be adding new inventory, and don't end listings and do sell similar that day, because then you'll have to sort through the inventory to say this was new, this was already recorded, and I just created a new listing for it.
Yep. That's a plan ahead. Yeah. Just don't, he's right. Don't do it the same day. Do your importing and everything. And then when you don't plan on doing that, go ahead and do your sell similars, your relist. You're just going to have to be on top of it if you're somebody that does that. I actually do that. I do end similar or end items and do sell similars pretty often. So
yeah,
it has to be like pre-planned for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then just to come back to what I was saying with attaching, expenses to sales. So like shipping costs, they show up in the shipping cost analytics only field. And then any other costs like ad fees or whatever, they will show up in this field. So it all gets factored into your gross profit on each sale. But then the detail for those expenses shows up in your expense detail. Anyways.
Okay. So you'll be, everything attached as far as the expense attached to it, the gross profit number will be correct because it's attached to it. You guys, I think for most people, they'll just look at the total, like the cumulative total of that. So
yeah.
If you're behind in recording your inventory and sales, does Reseller Genie go back further than the 24 hours?
Yeah. So what it does is it pulls every 24 hours, it pulls the data, but then it holds on to it until you come through and approve it. So it won't go away. That's just like the interval that we pull new information.
Perfect.
Yeah. And you can also, if you want to, you can manually pull it. There's a refresh button to do that.
Yep. You can always, I was going to say, you can always manually do stuff. So, stuff like that, and it's just confused. Yeah, the baubles blink. It's very easy, and somebody says she's a older reseller that the sell similar ending is another level of terror on her brain. There's a video about the importing and the inventory, and also can sit down and show you. I can probably sit down and show you. I'm bad at explaining it.
But no, guys, if you have questions about this, again, please just shoot us an email or a message, shoot Casey a message. But again, we're very responsive, and we're happy to help you with anything that we can.
Yeah.
And Cindy, you can see your purchase price totals or percentage, either one. So for sure. Yep. Baubles, blings, and needful things. Yeah. Reseller Genie is the way to go. Appreciate that. We're going to have Paul show you a couple more things, and then we'll, all these questions, we'll roll through the last questions that everybody has, because I've been trying to answer them. But.
Yeah, no, thank you, Casey.
Yeah, no, so I actually, I covered everything that I wanted to cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to give away some free Genie in a minute.
We are going to give it away. And so my wrap up of this demo is you can see that report is like the MVP of it, where you can see the totals for the whole year. Like when you're ready to file taxes, give it to your CPA or accountant. And then as far as all the analytics, like what Paul showed you in the graphs and the barcodes, that's for your own kind of, knowledge and tracking what you're selling, what's selling good, how long it's taking to sell. And you can browse through that, for 5 or 10 minutes on a day or for a couple times a week, just to kind of gauge where you're at and what kind of stuff is selling. So that's just all really important information. But that one right there at the end, what he's got popped up right there is, really for most people, the tax thing, that's just going to be worth its weight in gold. So having all that other stuff like bar graphs and pie charts and all is just so much extra added knowledge and analytics, which will help the business in the long run. Being able to attach your bank accounts and your expenses and import them will just make producing these numbers that you're looking at right here just very fluid and easy. So if you slacked in 22, don't do it again in 23. So Pat Doodles has a great question. How long an initial setup, like we said in the beginning, the initial setup is the time consumer. Once you get going, your daily workload for Genie, probably a few minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes at most, to really do like account maintenance on it, unless you're doing something serious like ending your 10,000 items and relisting them. But the initial setup, Paul, what, 30 minutes, an hour?
Yeah, it's really person dependent.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of people say I was able to get in 30 minutes to an hour. We've also had people who, they've needed to email back and forth with us a lot.
Mhm.
And so like, no matter where you fall on that spectrum, it's okay.
Mhm.
We're here to support you if you need a little more help. But if you're, pretty comfortable with importing data and just kind of thinking through like how that works, and you're just comfortable with that, it'll go pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is, I didn't mention this earlier, but if you have your data somewhere else already,
Yeah. Like list
you
perfectly.
can import that
Mhm.
with upload templates. You don't need to pull from the platforms and everything and reconstruct what you've already built. And we have videos talking about how to do that.
Yeah, they have a lot of, once you guys are signed up, you have access. You have a lot of videos on their YouTube channel also you can go look at, and of course customer support. So I think any of the questions that remain after this show, they'll be able to answer for you, and you'll see it's a lot easier once you get going and actually doing the task and producing it. So it seems scary. It's not. I promise it's not as scary as me sometimes. Yeah, Paul, I think Paul said he's done with the demo. The profit loss detail, yeah, that's a majority of the taxes. There are some other things that are asked on your tax forms, but that covers most of it. You'll have your total sales, your cost of goods, your fees, your shipping. You can see that Paul has in there other business expenses like travel, advertising, his accountant. So any of those fees that are deductible, you can, of course, track through Genie. So when you fill out a tax form, it'll say, under your cost of goods, it'll have a list of business expenses, and it'll say like shipping, fees, travel and lodging, which is hotels, parking and tolls, because some people have to drive to work and it's deductible, things like that. Your gas, all that sort of stuff you can enter in as expenses. And then when you have to fill those boxes in, you can see Paul's got his 3 right there. There's really not much more to a business tax input other than these list of numbers. I'm sure there's a few I'm missing, but yeah, it's pretty much that easy. So it's a great question.
Yeah.
Can you start out Pat Doodles with the $9.99 plan to get what you need?
Sorry. Go ahead, Casey.
No, 2 answers. One is it depends on you and your business and your level, what needs you have. But 2, you can always start with the lowest plan. But I promise you the features in the 2 tiers above that are going to make things a lot quicker. So, Faith can probably expand on that a lot.
I was just going to say, so yeah, we didn't really go over the difference. I'll just do that really quick. The basic plan is $9.99 a month, and that's just for very, very basic sellers. You're not selling a lot. You have no need to track your other business expenses. There's not sales analytics on that. So just very, very basic, track your sales, track your inventory. There is no eBay integration with that plan either. If you bump up to premium, which is $14.99 a month, that will give you sales analytics. It gives you bank integration.
Mm-hmm.
It will also give you bank integration so you can track your other business expenses. The ultimate plan obviously is the best because you get eBay integration with that as well as all the other features. And that one is $19.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. You can upgrade or downgrade anytime. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yep. Aaron has a great question. This is one of the first questions I ever proposed to Paul, because this was a majority of my business. I think everybody knows that. Buying things like a pallet with multiple items on it instead of breaking it all down by item. Yeah, you can absolutely record it as one sale, like $500 for pallet A. So the question that I had put to Paul was, I said, hey, what if I buy a pallet with 500 items and I pay $1,000? They're $2 an item. Can I just put it in there? And I know some people ask me about averaging it, like cost of goods averaging, or just putting it total in there. At first, it wasn't, like way back a year ago, it wasn't really compatible with how I did things. But since then, talk about how you've made it a lot easier for people to do like bulk purchases and record them instead of having to input 1,000, line items.
Yeah. So send us an email and we can kind of break it out for you about how you would do that. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty here because I think that might make it a little more confusing.
Yeah.
There's definitely a way to do this in My Reseller Genie. But once we know you're like exactly what you're doing and what your situation is, we can give you better advice that way.
Yeah. Because that was literally my biggest thing, because obviously almost everything I buy is bulk. So Good question there. Email their support at myresellergenie.com for that. Arlene, 2 eBay stores. Good question. I get asked that one a lot too. I forgot.
Yeah, great question. So right now, My Reseller Genie will only integrate with one eBay store. You're able to track both because you can create a separate sale platform, but one of them would have to be done either manually entering or through uploads. So you could do 2 My Reseller Genie accounts, if like both stores are high traffic. If so, reach out to us and we can do a special deal for you on the second store. And just know that in future, we do plan to add the functionality for multiple eBay stores as well.
Nice. Yeah. So if you didn't do it with 2 accounts, which would probably be easier to do it that way, you would import as usual for store 1, and then you would manually create a sale platform and call it eBay store 2 or whatever your eBay store name is. And then you'd have to put the sales under that. So, but it can be done. Yes, it can be done. Arlene asked that. Thank you, Arlene. So great questions. These are questions that over the last year, as I've promoted Genie and you guys have built, these are questions we see come through a lot. So I'm glad to be able to answer them live. So
yeah, definitely.
Everybody with the same questions, because that's what everyone is worried about. And I never think about 2 eBay stores. I've had 2 eBay stores. Excuse me. I had a personal. When I went to business, I thought you couldn't transfer your personal over to business. So I created a second eBay account as the business. I didn't realize that I could have just made my personal account a business. So if you've ever watched some of my YouTube screen share videos, you'll see my name at the top where it says "Hi Casey," and then some of them will say "Hi Tom," which is my dad. And I put my dad on the business because I wanted the point of contact to not be me and the return address to not be my house. But I wasn't smart enough to get a PO box, so I had everything sent to my dad's house. Like I didn't want to endanger myself, so I endangered my dad.
Oh, no.
Your poor dad. So since then, I have smartened up. If you watch newer videos, I got rid of my dad's name and point of address. I got a PO box, of course. I've had that for a while, and I created the LLC. I've had the LLC for 14 years, but I actually made the eBay account as the point of contact worldwide sales. So now my dad's not in danger anymore.
And you got him a car just to say thank you and I'm sorry.
I did for all those years of using. No, because people would always go like, how come when I would screen share my eBay stores, why did some of them say "Hi Casey" and some said "Hi Tom"? And I'm like, well, I have a personal and I have a business, and they're like, why is there one account in your dad's name? I'm like, because I didn't want anyone to know it was me. Yeah, so fun times. Anyways, yes, sir. Paul, how about keeping certain expenses out to increase your P&L until sales increase? Yeah, you could delete expenses or not put in some expenses. Like Paul said, the IRS doesn't care if you don't take all your deductions. They're just going to get more tax money from you if you don't actually report those. So,
although if this question is saying like if you made purchases, like if you had expenses in 2021 and you're wanting to save them for 2022 when you have more sales, I wouldn't advise doing that. I talked to a CPA. Depending on how your business is set up legally, you can carry forward losses. So if that's what you're asking about, talk to your CPA.
Oh, I didn't even process that as that could have been the.
I don't know if I'm just jumping to something that wasn't there, but
yeah, Rich is pretty knowledgeable, so I wouldn't put it past Rich to be. Yeah, if you're just talking about keeping certain expenses off just Genie, just so you can show a higher P&L there's a bunch of reasons I won't talk about. I've done it before. That is legal. You're not required to claim every single expense. There's no requirement for that. If you're talking about moving forward with it, yeah, that's a CPA question I wouldn't even dare step on. So I'm currently in the negative. I have a sole proprietor. Rich, it totally depends on the reason that you want to show a higher P&L. It sounds like an accountant question. And I don't even tiptoe around those. Like I'm out. Like I can't give that advice. So I have, depending on what you're asking though, I have adjusted P&Ls. There's reasons to do it. I'm not going to talk about it. Anybody that knows there are reasons, but yeah, you're not required to take any expenses. Well, I can give you one of the reasons. I take a lot of expenses to get a tax report down, but obviously to get approved for a house, you might need to show more money. So you just don't take certain expenses that you're allowed to take because you need to show more money. the flip side is I had to pay more taxes. That was just, it was what it was. So my P&L had to be higher. So, okay. Being negative is a red flag sometimes. Yeah, these are all accountant questions. We won't, Genie will track that. They'll show you the numbers. What you do with it after that is totally up to you and your CPA. So good questions, but not us. Not us. Okay, so a lot of great questions. If there's any more, we can do support at myresellergenie.com. You can even email me. I can forward it to them, but their email is the best because they handle it. They know the answers. And now that we've held all of you this long, I want to do giveaways. We're going to give away months free for anybody who wants to try Genie. Maybe you're a new customer. You've never tried it. Maybe it's the first time you've heard of it. And we're going to ask, I think Faith has some questions.
I have a couple ideas.
A couple ideas for giving away if you've held on this long. So let's go ahead with that.
Yes. All right. Everybody take a second to think about the answer to this one. That's just your hint. Okay. But really quick though, how this is going to work is the first person to drop the answer in the chat. I should say the first person to drop the correct answer in the chat will win. And we'll tell you what you're winning afterwards. So here's the question. How many selling platforms can My Reseller Genie track? Watching the chat. Yeah. It is. Shh, Casey.
I can't give away answers.
All right. Somebody said 3, 7. Oh, all right.
Eric Henriksen.
I think we have a winner here. Oh man, and now they're all coming through.
Yep.
Right.
Eric was the first one to drop it in. Better Barbie Infinite. Yeah. So all of them. No restrictions. Reseller Genie integrates with limited platforms, but it absolutely works with any platform, including your own antique booth, your own yard sale out front every weekend. Whatever you want to add in, you can add in as many as you want. That's absolutely correct. Eric, what was his last name on this?
Hendrickson. Eric
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson.
Perfect.
Congrats. Okay, so you, and all of these prizes are the same. You get a free month of the ultimate plan of My Reseller Genie, which is the highest tier. Shoot us an email, Casey. Is that what you want to do, or do you want them to message you?
It's the best way because I can't set you up with it,
Right.
so they'll set you up. Support at myresellergenie.com. It's also in the description box. If anybody forgets it, you can screenshot it or take a picture or whatever. And also all their social media, shout out to their socials. They have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all the same. My Reseller Genie, if you can just search it in the search box, it'll come up. I follow them. So if you find my account, just scroll through my follows and you'll see them, or they're down below too. Screenshot it. But yeah, Eric, so reach out to them. If you forget, just tell me rockstarflipper@gmail.com and I'll get you in touch. Okay.
So
Second one.
shoot us an email. Okay. Second question. And I need Casey and Paul to be thinking about the third question because I don't have a third one. Okay. Congrats, Eric. That's awesome. Okay. Second question. And I think, Eric, you probably know this, but if you know the answer to this, you are not allowed to.
Eric, hold off on this answer. 31.
Okay. All right. This is more of a just fun, personal one. How long have Paul and I been married for?
Ooh, this was a little while ago.
This is at the beginning. So for all of you guys,
is this the part where Paul has to think about the answer?
Better not. He actually remembers these dates better than I do. Bear Kitty says forever. That's hilarious. All right, should we go to that one? Okay, no. Okay, Cindy. Okay, so Marianne said 6 years, and I apologize because I said almost 6 years, but it looks like Cindy is the first one, and she got it right. 5 years. Yes, Cindy, congratulations. You win a free month of My Reseller Genie Ultimate. Shoot us an email. We will, if you are a current user, we'll just add the coupon to your account, or if you are a new user, we will get you set up with a free month of My Reseller Genie. You can cancel anytime.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So what's the I did know this, but what's the anniversary date? Hold on, let me take a stab. I don't know the date, but let me at least get the month right.
Ooh.
My brain is telling me February or March.
Oh, you are okay. March, February are both of our birthdays. Yeah, both of our birthdays are in February. So February, March.
My brain was telling me March 1st, like not March 1st, but March at first. And I think my brain is telling me the end of the month.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, Casey, we need to send you something. We need
Like the
to send you something.
Numbers.
Yeah, the 25th.
Dude, okay,
Is
that's
it?
great.
I
That's
don't
great.
have any information in front of me. I literally pulled that out. Is it really the 25th?
Yeah, that's weird,
My
Casey.
brain
That's
just kind of
weird.
and you know where my brain pulled that from? This is going to shock you even more because we haven't never had a talk about like, oh, our anniversary is March. We've never had this talk.
No.
Facebook. I'm almost certain it's Facebook.
Yeah,
I saw
probably.
it.
Yeah, just like I'll post about our anniversary.
And I remember the date. Like just numbers roll through my brain.
That is so funny. Real quick, I just have to say, Bear Kitty, I love you. You've been on our other lives. You're just hilarious. Bear Kitty says he married a girl from the Dina. For anybody who doesn't know that, I come from Pasadena, but Pasadena, Maryland, not California. And they call it the Dina or the Dirty Dina sometimes.
Yeah.
Bear Kitty, you might understand that one. So yeah.
You know.
Oh man! Oh, congrats, Carol. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Casey and Paul, do you guys have one last question for our final giveaway?
Paul.
Yeah, so I've got one. It's not really fair. You're gonna kind of have to just guess. But it's a 1 in 12 shot. So what? Yeah, what month of the year did My Reseller Genie, the spreadsheet, start?
The spreadsheet.
The
Man,
spreadsheet.
y'all in the chat probably got a better chance of answering this than I do because everything runs together for me. We were on phone calls and stuff like every day almost for a while. So
yeah,
I have an idea. I think I know.
Oh, so they're just okay. So you announce it, babe.
Yeah. So baubles, blings, and needful things is 7 July. Yeah, absolutely.
You are right. Congrats.
Yeah, July 2020.
July of 2020. Yep.
Yeah.
I knew it was
the year
summer.
of COVID.
Congrats,
COVID.
Siblings. You have also won a free month of My Reseller Genie Ultimate. Shoot us an email, and again, we'll get you set up. Congratulations, guys. That was awesome. That was very exciting.
Nice job, guys. Nice. Yeah. July 2020. I just remember over the summer, we had talked way before, like I don't even know how long before that, but it was a while. 6 months.
Yeah. So I met you on Sarah. I don't know if you remember Sarah Diedick, but you went live with her in March, I believe. And so I met you over Zoom on that. And then we started in July. And then I reached out to you, I think, in like August, September. Yeah. So
6 months after we initially, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, about 6 months after the initial. Yeah, it was wild.
Crazy.
You were isolated and had nothing better to do. Yeah, that's Paul's excuse.
Yeah, pretty much.
They were being productive, and I was sitting on a couch and then sitting in a hotel doing nothing.
No, that's not true, Casey.
I remember the hotel. That was a rough time for you.
Really
10 megabytes a second internet was like,
oh my gosh,
MVP level.
I don't think I knew that part. That's horrible.
Oh, I would upload YouTube videos at so we would go to the pool and do stuff at like noon, 1, 2 o'clock. I'd upload a YouTube video at like 4 or 4:30. We'd leave for dinner and come back like dinner and drinks at like 10:30 or 11. And the video was like 20% done.
Oh my, yes. I remember you saying that. Oh, that's horrible.
It was bad. It was the worst time of my life. Awesome. Oh, a lot of people. Yeah. Bobbles. Very good. This is going to start you off. So look, a lot of you were here. You stayed the whole time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining. If there's any questions at all, small, big, everything in between, please email me or them, support@myresellergenie.com or rockstarflipper@gmail down there. And the three winners, make sure you reach out.
I'm sorry, Casey.
No, go ahead.
If you didn't win, just remember that you can still get 15% off of your first month if you use Casey's code, which is, I think you said in the chat. But use that, make sure that it's all caps.
Yeah, all capital letters. It's Rockstar Flipper 15, 1-5. And it's got to be all capital letters. When you plug it in, it'll work. You'll know it worked well. It's 15% off to get started. And you have 3 days until the end of the year, which gives you time between now and the weekend to get yourself set up. So on the 1st, you are ready to go. Don't wait around till January 10th or January 32nd. Just get it ready now and you'll be ready for the 1st. So if there's anything else or any questions anybody has, we'll get them answered before then as well. I'm going out for New Year's Eve, so get them to me now. I'm going to be on a rooftop downtown Tampa overlooking the bay. So,
oh, that sounds nice.
Solid plan.
Solid plan. It was a solidly expensive plan, but it's a solid plan. Yep. All right. Anything else that you guys wanted to cover? Anything we need?
No, I think that's
really
it.
good. Thank you, Casey. Thank you so much
we
for having
really
us on
appreciate
here.
it.
Yeah, you got it. If you guys want to rewatch the video, of course, you can do that. It'll be up on my YouTube channel in a few minutes when it processes. You can pause it, screenshot, all that good stuff. And until the next live video, thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful night. If I don't talk to everyone, have a great, safe New Year's. And I might see you guys again in 2023.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye, everyone.